I'm back, I'm biased, I'm bothered, and I am always unfiltered. If you are easily offended, this is not the place for you. You still haven't managed to worthy up. Not to worry, let's get into this mess. And we are back with another fantastic episode of Sister Wives. Well, it was Ari. No, I'm just kidding. This actually was a good one. Anyway, so we find out that Maddie, Logan, and Aspen, they're going to a non-profit organisation called Holding Out Help. So this place helps polygamists who are fleeing abusive situations. Now, Cody asks Aspen, is she going to feel pressurised because she is interested in polygamy at this stage? Now, she's saying no, like she's going to be grand. Anyway, Christine is worried about this organisation that the kids are going to help because she has heard about the woman from Holding Out Hope called Tanya, okay? Now, Christine is wondering what would have happened if she had gone to Tanya when she was struggling with Cody years ago. I thought, yikes, Christine, yikes. I wonder what she thinks about all of this now. Anyway, as this conversation is going on, okay, I'm getting very distracted by the texture of the wall in this house. I was wondering, maybe in America people don't get the inside of their house plastered. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot take my eyes off it. It looks damp, okay, but it also looks like really rough. Like, you know, if you were to rub your hand over it, you'd probably get like, I don't know, little pinchies in your fingers or something. It's just unusual for me to see that indoors. Anyway, these kids are leaving, okay? Now, we know, of course, that Leon can't go because at this stage in their life, they were super duper religious. Now, I noticed something. Christine's clothes that she's wearing here, she's a green top on her, and she has kind of like a beige brown colour trousers. The green is a really good colour for her. It really is. Christine should wear it more often. Anyway, these kids are heading off to what's called a safe house, okay, to help get ready for the family. Now, the kids say that they have heard stories, but it's only like second hand because, like, this is a very different world than they're used to. They didn't grow up with like these kind of polygamy people, okay? And they are like a bit nervous about what they should expect. So we meet Kerry, okay? But it's spelled Kerri. Now she's one of the people from Holding Out Help. And she's introducing the brown kids to some of the other kids that are in this safe house. Now we're going to meet a girl called Colleen. I've never come across this spelling of Colleen. And I know a couple of Colleens actually. But this is spelled Kollene. So we're meeting Colleen and her hair, which is the most severe side parting I think I've ever seen in my whole life. Now, this girl cannot stand polygamy, okay? She hates polygamy. I've actually seen Colleen before. She was in Escaping Polygamy. Anyway, this girl, right? She's full of angst. She has all the angst, okay? Now, she does not believe that polygamy can ever be lived successfully. She hates it. She's letting us know she hates it, right? So we're meeting another girl. Now, her name is Suzanne and she's 17. When I was listening to this girl talking, okay, I had to put closed captions on because I couldn't hear anything the girl was saying. But anyway, we find out, right? She's from the FLDS group. So when Susan left, she left with her mother and her sisters. And we're getting pictures of these like people fleeing. They're very Warren Jeffs looking people, okay? Like very Warren Jeffs. So I'm looking at like the kids and they're getting this house ready. So they're painting, right? And I thought, what the fuck? Why are we using just 2 rollers like to get this whole house ready? But not only are we using rollers, they're using brushes. Like even the cuts haven't even been done yet. This would drive me mad, okay? Do the cuts first and then like roll out the whole wall, you know? But then I noticed the goddamn tiles. Why is there tiles on the ceiling? Like who put them up there? I've no idea. Do you know what? If I'm fleeing like the Warren Jeffs people, okay, I can't stay here. Send me back. I don't want to stay in this goddamn room. Anyway, now we're meeting one of the other kids. When I say kids, right, I'm just calling them that. I know they're a bit older, but I don't know what else to call them, okay, because that's the way they're being referred to. So we're talking to Stephen and he's 20. So he's from the FLDS and he was kicked out as well. Now we're meeting Nicole. Now she's 22. So her story is that when she was 16, her dad wanted her to get married, but she already had a boy that she liked. So he wasn't involved in polygamy. And basically she just married him and she had a baby. So I'm glad like that she's grand and all, but I'm not sure what she's doing in this place.
Anyway, now we get a bit of a setup, okay, from Tanya, because Tanya is asking Maddie, like, why do you not want to live polygamy? Now, Maddie has always said that, right? We know she's not interested. We've heard this from Maddie, like, since we met her. But at this stage, okay, Aspen and Leon, they are, like, they're grand with polygamy, okay? So I didn't like Tanya because I really feel that she's setting her up, because Colleen is then saying, like, that she wants to yell at these girls and tell them not to be stupid. Now, Aspen is saying that polygamy is not the problem, okay? Bad people are the problem. I completely agree. I agree with her. And also, these brown kids, they've had a very different life, like to the other kids, like the Hold No Hope kids, like the Warren Jeffs, the LDS, like they had a very, very different life, you know. But I feel quite bad for Maddie because obviously, like, she loves her family, you know. Now, she herself doesn't want to be a polygamist, but like, she supports other people if that's what they want to do. Anyway, we find out that Colleen is 19. Now, she left the polygamous people when she was 15, but then she got sent back. And then she left for good when she was 17, okay? So she's gone, she's gone. But we also find out from her that her dad was one of the men in power, and she has zero good memories of this guy, right? She hates this guy. She hates polygamy. She hates the whole thing, right? Full of the angst. Anyway, back to Nicole. Now, Nicole is telling the brown kids, right, that unfortunately she has seen an awful lot of abuse, like all the abusive things. Now, these brown kids are being very sympathetic. They're upset that other kids had to go through all this, but like, that's not something that they're familiar with. But Nicole is just like doubling down and saying that she doesn't know how the Browns think, like, that they had a really good childhood because she thinks they're delusional. I want to say to her, okay, like, you can have a bad experience, but like, these kids had a grand experience, you know. I don't like that. I don't like that they're kind of setting these kids up. I didn't like it. Anyway, Maddie is just like heartbroken to be hearing about like all the abusive things that went on. But as of like, we're having this really intense and emotional moment, Father Logan must be shattered, right? Because he's just yawning. He's just yawning as this conversation is going on. So we're going to meet a host house, okay? A host family. I think this is kind of like a foster family, but it's the kind of foster family that helps the people coming out of polygamy. Now, as we're there, right, Maddie is inviting Colleen to go and visit her family. Now, Colleen is saying, like, there's no converting me. And Logan is saying to her, right, me and Maddie aren't even interested in polygamy either. Like, they just want to show this girl that there's other different types of, like, of polygamy, you know, and that her family is not like the polygamy that she's used to. Anyway, Aspen, who is interested in polygamy, okay? Colleen is saying, poor Aspen, she's brainwashed. I don't like this. I do have to say, right, I'm very protective of the brown kids. Also, I don't like this kind of behavior because it's kind of bullying, like, you know, it's kind of mocking behavior. I just didn't like it. Now, Maddie is saying, like, you have to be a strong person to live polygamy. And Colleen is saying, no, you have to be a very dumb person. I thought, calm the fuck down, Colleen. Leave these kids alone. Anyway, we're back in the safe house and we're bringing in furniture, and there's Warren Jeff stickers all over this furniture. Now, the brown kids, they're weirded out by all of the Warren Jeff stuff because, like, their life is just very different. And then I thought, holy mother God, why are we doing this? Because we're bringing in a bed, right? But on the bed it says keep it sweet. I thought, can we not just buy a new bed? This is so feckin' inappropriate. Also, I think that this would be quite triggering, you know, because it's Suzanne's mother's bed. But like, if they're fleeing, obviously there wouldn't be very good memories of this bed. I just throw it out, like, you know, and get these people a new bed. Anyway, keep sweet basically means like to be submissive, kind of like, you know, they want the women to kind of like be like a child, really, in their mentality. I think I don't like all the gross things. Anyway, so the brown kids want to show, like, the Holding Out Hope kids, that there's different types of polygamy and they're going to bring them to the houses in Las Vegas. So we're hearing from Tanya and Kerry again. I've decided I don't like Tanya, by the way. I don't like this woman. Now, she's worried, okay, that the Holding Out Hope kids, like, when they go to the Browns, like, the Browns won't validate their experiences because there's abuse, like, you know, there was abuse going on. I thought, hang on a second, Tanya. I've just literally seen Maddie, like, in floods of tears. I've seen this kid crying. Like, of course, like, the Brown family, of course, they're going to validate, you know, these kids' experiences. Like, she's making them out to be monsters, you know. So I've decided I don't like her. Anyway, so now we're in, like, in in the Las Vegas homes with the Holding Out Hope kids. I thought, I think we need to check Colleen, check our hair or something, or check our bag for a knife, you know. I really do. So Colleen is shaking Cody's hand. Now it's obvious she hates him, right? She absolutely hates this guy. So do all of these kids. So the Browns are talking like to the other kids, and we're finding out more about them. And then we're finding out about Stephen. Now this was a weird one for me because we find out that Stephen grew up with his father and not really his mother. I thought all the polygamy people, right? That's why they had a load of mothers, because the mothers like raised the kids. So, but he didn't go into detail as to why, like, he grew up with his father. But anyway, apparently he went out one night, okay, and he didn't come back until 2 o'clock in the morning, and then his dad just kicked him out. Now, I think there's more to that story. I do. Anyway, Colleen is saying that she hates her father, and she says that she wants to blow him up. I'm telling you, check this girl's hair, check our bag. We have to protect the Brown family. Anyway, Suzanne, we're finding out like more about her. So her father was kicked out like of the religion, and she got a new father. Okay, so the new father is Warren Jeffs, but he was locked up in prison. So then she had to get kind of like a stand-in father. Now she didn't like him, so she left, and that's how she found like the Holding Out Hope people. Now, as this girl is talking, I can barely hear her, but I notice like that Cody is obviously having the same problem because he's turning his head, right? You know, like to try and find out what this girl is saying. But Robyn is pretending like to cry at the story. She's not, right? She's not. I don't see a fucking tear. But then we hear from Janelle. Now Janelle is crying. This woman is visibly upset, right? She is. She's so upset. Anyway, now Janelle is talking to Nicole, okay? And Janelle is explaining to Nicole that her and Christine are very close. Like, Christine always minded the children. That Janelle and Christine were always back and forth into each other's houses. You know, they just like they lived their lives together, like as a family. And Nicole reckons that her mothers would not be able to do any of that. And then we find out that Nicole had 27 mothers. Oh, I wouldn't even be able to remember all of them names. But Janelle, like, she loves these kids, right? The Holding Out Hope people. She loves them, you know. I knew that the Browns would. So Cody is going to show the kids like their living situation and how they all like have their own house. Like, you know, all the wives have their own house. So he decided to take these kids over to Christine's house. And for some unknown reason, Christine decided to bring these kids up to McKelty's bedroom. Now there's crap all over the place, right? All over the goddamn walls. I thought, take that shit down. This is a rental house. You need to get the deposit back, you know? Anyway, now we're in Mary's house, okay? Now, again, Tanya is doing like another setup because she's saying to Mary, like, she's asking her how she felt when each wife came into the family. Now, obviously, Mary was jealous, you know, and that's what she says. And I believe that Tanya, like, she just wanted to hear her saying that, you know, she just wanted to kind of set her up. Anyway, apparently, it's very warm in Las Vegas this day, so we're heading out for a picnic. So we're going to this outdoor area, and apparently it's about like 20 degrees, like cooler, okay? So Colleen is talking to Cody. Now she's telling him how much she hates polygamy, but she's opening up to him, and she's telling him why. She's telling this man, she's opening up to this guy. But as we're listening to Colleen, we're validating her, you know, we're giving her all the things, talking and finding out more about her. And we find out that Aspen, Maddie and Leon, they've been gone for quite a long time with Suzanne. And then we see Maddie and Aspen walking back to the picnic in FLDS clothes. I thought, what the fuck he is doing, kids? This is highly inappropriate to get this shit off you, okay? This is probably very triggering for the other kids, you know. I know that the brown kids, they're not doing it like with any malice. I know they're only doing it. But we're hearing from the parents, and Janelle, she's so upset, right, seeing the girls in dresses. But then like she's actually crying. Of course, you know, I can't deal with Janelle getting upset. So of course I was getting upset too. Anyway, we're finding out about these kids, right? And like all of the trauma that has taken place within these families, like all of the abuse that went on, all the terrible, terrible things. And then Robyn, now I guarantee you, this woman was a dick in her last life because she can't help but insert herself into everything, okay? Because she's chiming in, and of course she's making this all about herself. Now, she's saying that she was abused in her relationship and nobody believed her. I thought that's not even what we're talking about, you dumb cow. Like, nobody is not believing these kids. We're all believing these kids, you know? And by the way, Robyn, you weren't in a polygamy marriage, and that's what we're talking about. Like, we're talking about polygamy, you know? Now, I will be honest, I don't believe it. I don't believe that she was abused. I don't. Because she says, like, that she was abused and that he was given, like, the benefit of the doubt, like, over and over again. But I'm looking at Mary, okay? I'm looking at Mary's expression, and Mary looks absolutely stunned that Robyn is saying this. She really does. Anyway, after all of that lunacy, we're heading out. We're going out for dinner because it's the last night for the Holding Out Hope kids, like, and the Brown family. So they're just gonna have a bit of crack, and like the kids, like, they're gonna ditch the adults and they're gonna go for ice cream. So they do say that they enjoyed, like, visiting the Brown family, and even Colleen, right? Even Colleen is after calming down a little bit. Now, she says that she does actually like the Brown family. I don't know how anybody couldn't like them. You know, even if you didn't like the adults, you would at least like really like the kids, you know? So anyway, Kelly and Tanya, they're going over to Mary's house to talk about everything that happened, like, you know, and how the weekend went. And Tanya is sitting on the parochial house sofa, and I thought, good, you deserve that. You deserve to be sitting there with your back like poker street, really uncomfortable. Now, she says that it was healthy, like, to see the Brown family. But Christian does say that she was nervous because she has heard of Tanya before, and she was worried about her kids, basically, because, you know, like, that's just the way that they grew up, you know. So she's always worried about outside people like that. But overall, everybody felt that it was very beneficial, you know, that they all met up. Oh, do you know, I'd love to hear from these kids today. I know they're not kids, but that's just what they were referred to. But I'd love to know what they think of the Brown family now. Anyway, that is our recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.